Welcome back to the Talk About Purpose podcast. I'm Matthew Huey.
I'm Brian Harper.
I'm Frank Curry.
And today we're talking about determinism versus free will, something that's been argued for over 2,000 years in philosophy.
This is a complicated one.
Sure.
It is. It's like almost the type of stuff that like you can't fathom it.
We are not philosophers, just to be clear.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I'm good.
I think
I'm
people
good.
could listen to me for 3 seconds and can tell I'm not a philosopher.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, frick.
Yeah.
The amount of thought that went into this is just absolutely groundbreaking. And trying to understand it was so difficult. Now, I had already started looking into this for my theology, actually, because there's a big, there's Calvinism, and then there's the other one where it's basically the same thing, but as it pertains to God. So I was already kind of digging the surface of this, and this kind of broke it even further open. So free will.
Yeah.
Free will. What do you guys consider free will to be?
Being able to make your own decisions, make your own choices in life, and not have any kind of interference with that.
Yep.
You know, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So pretty much, yeah, one's ability to make a choice outside of the influences or causes.
Mhm.
Determinism is that all events are determined by a previous cause.
Yeah. Like it's fate.
Yeah, fate's played heavily on this.
Yeah.
And holy,
Like no matter
God.
what you do, you're never going to change that outcome.
it's basically like the best way I heard it explained was if there's cause and effect, and that's what the cause is. It's the cause. So the cause would be like you going to play pool, you hit the cue ball, you cause that. The effects are everything that happens afterward, you have no control over. You have no control. It's all physics and everything in motion. So determinism is Big Bang was the cause, and everything else is dominoes falling afterward. Huh?
This is
Because
this is next level.
yeah, it really, really, really is. So there's 4 main camps that fall into this. There is the compatibilist. Okay, and that is like it sounds. They believe free will and determination can exist together. Okay.
Well, how's that possible? Because if you have free will and you can make your own choices and nothing's
Well,
Very determinist of you.
I mean,
well, no, I'm just saying.
I think it's a gray area like everything else. Like, so determinism, some things can be determinism. What if you're born with a disability, right? So that's going to determine the rest of your life that you're not going to be able to have a normal life, right? So it's determination or determinism.
you're right.
However,
Get that?
free will, then I believe in free will, because no matter what you come from or whatever happened to you, that doesn't mean that you have to be in that manner. So if you come from an abusive household, that doesn't mean you need to be abusive the rest of your life. You can see that that's not good. And I always tell my kid, like I've said it before, I always tell my kid, learn from me what you want to be like and what you don't want to be like. You see what I mean? That right there is saying it's your free will, but learn to not be like me in the negative aspects of me.
So, is it really free will if everything that that the person has experienced points them to a direction of yes or no, right or
Well,
left?
All right,
Well,
so hold on a second. I have a rebuttal to that because
Go ahead.
my life, I've always been around negative influences, and I've always been around people that have been in drugs and in jail and have done like they're just a lot of them were criminals and things like that, and I never did anything like that. So just because you're around, it doesn't mean it's a predetermined destiny for you.
Yeah, and then it's not.
Why couldn't? Well, that's not saying that. It's saying the influences to a biological level of neurons firing is what determines it.
But wouldn't
Not
but,
just the outside
I understand that,
influences.
but so okay, so my dad was a drug addict and went to jail. Like my sisters all did it. The rest of my brothers were all into it. The The rest of my
not helping
mom's
free
side of
will.
the family, hold on. The rest of my mom's side of the family, hold on. They were all alcoholics. But my point is, I didn't do that. I didn't go that route. So,
oh, good. So you're the 10 percentile. So you'd still get free
right.
will.
But my point is, if that's the case, like I feel like I should have. If determinism was the reason for all that, then why not for me?
Yeah.
If it happened for everybody else, why not for me?
Because you can't see all the things that actually play into your brain's development. Because in a biological level, there's something called heuristics. Heuristics. We're going to get back to the different camps on the argument. But let me just get into heuristics real quick. So heuristics is the brain's ability to make shortcuts to cut out the mind's ability to make a decision. Okay, so we're talking physical brain, cutting out pathways to make shorter, faster decisions for your mind, which is the part you think. Yet mind and brain are different when I'm talking in this.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's been proven through studies that it exists as close as recent as 2014. American Psychological Association proved one of the heuristics, which is familiarity, correct. That you are more likely to choose something you're familiar with than something you're not, even if the thing that you're not familiar with has more benefit. And there's even more studies than that done on anchoring. Anchoring is something very common, which there's a zillion studies on, but it's where you hear something and then everything else gets filtered through what you hear, and they have to prove what you've heard first isn't true. And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Also, what was the other? Representativeness. It's another heuristic that your brain makes shortcuts for. You see a sweet little old lady walking down the street. Turns out she's a murderer, but you didn't think that because she's a sweet little old lady.
Oh,
Your brain makes shortcuts to identify them.
Yeah, that's judging a book by its cover.
Well, yeah, but you don't even think, your mind doesn't process that. Your brain makes the shortcut to jump to it already.
I love elderly people. I've always had a soft spot for them. So you got me right there, I guess.
So
you had me at elderly.
So your brain and your mind are separate. And that's where this stuff gets really trippy. Because your brain
that's where it gets trippy. Now we're starting to get trippy.
So you two so far are considered compatibilists. You believe in free will and determination. Obviously, the vice versa of that would be incompatibilists, which believe determinism and free will can't exist together. Then there's even sub-levels of this, which is a libertarianist.
How to live in it.
Oh my gosh.
I don't like it already.
Cancel.
I'm just kidding.
Not to be confused with the political libertarians. Yeah. But it's basically the same
politics. Thank you.
Yeah.
Real.
Thank you.
Real. I agree.
Yeah,
both wings are connected to the crooked bird. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It don't matter.
Get your t-shirt today. No.
We the people.
But no, for real. So libertarianists are basically the same thing as the political group. They believe in freedom, absolute freedom. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You just shape your life.
Yeah.
Now the determinist is everything is determined. You think you have say so, but you don't. So you could be a incompatibilist and a determinist. You could be an incompatibilist and a libertarianist, and compatibilist is kind of its own section.
So let me ask you something. If I stood up and punched Frank right in his face,
yeah,
would that be
Bad idea?
Yes, it would.
I'm just saying
it would.
I'm not saying I would do it.
It's actually the second bad idea.
So determinists would believe that was always going to happen.
Yes, even random rolls of dice are determined. Because randomness can be put in an algorithm.
I get that. So, okay. Have you ever seen Ender's Game?
And if you're disagreeing with this right now, it's already been determined that you disagree with this right now.
I can program
That's not
randomness.
possible.
I can automate randomness.
I understand what it's saying, but I get it. I get that there's even in randomness, there's still some type of pattern, but I
still think there's okay. So with determinism, right? So we went from, you have a shitty life in the household when you're growing up, and not just being shit or being great, you know, coming out in grace afterwards, right?
Yeah.
What about the opposite? What about the people that have an amazing household, great family and everything, and then when they get out on their own, they see the wrong people or meet the wrong people, and now they go down a bad path? That's a choice.
Maybe
That's a choice. It's not determined.
Or maybe. So I was thinking this, because what you're saying is, so what if all of the bad, so it was like just a long history of bad, all of that pushed and led to that person breaking a cycle. All that was determining
I'm not
at
gonna
some
be like
point in
that.
time,
Yeah.
this person's going to break that cycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, sure.
all right. You got me. a
So
little
I
bit
think
here
that's
on
why
this
it's
one.
both. It's honestly both. It
Yeah.
has to be both, because you know it has to be. And I go again. I think it's both because, you know, yeah, you know, if you are an abusive household, maybe you will have abusive tendencies and have, you know, the mentality of that. But so there are instances. It's gray area everywhere, right? That's why I'm looking at. But definitely with the mental disability.
disagree.
Well, I disagree with science a couple times in my life already too, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So it is what it is. Let them disagree. You know, I try to use common sense. So that's the way I look at it. So again, if you're born with a disability, you made no choice for that. That's a determinism. But if you have a good family and you go out and you meet a guy and the guy's booting heroin, and then you're like, oh, I should probably leave because it's heroin, but I'm going to stay and I'm going to do heroin. That's a choice. That's not determinism.
So that brings us to a very good point. So most science, like 90% of it in the philosophy world, believe, well, I think it's 75%. Anyways, most of it believes in determinism. They think we're completely determinism, nuts and bolts, straight down to the floor. Everything. We're a machine where new pieces get put in to create new outputs. That's what most of it believes.
I mean, there's some conspiracy theories of that with, you know, lizard people and stuff, and where the heated hosts, the low heat hosts that keep their machines running. So maybe those philosophers are on something. Lizard people.
I'm going to have you doing that in the next
snake.
episode.
No, that one dude, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No, how about that one dude that walks that goes and look at me, I'm a snake. He's already converting over. He's already converting over. You know what I mean? Yeah. There it is. That's what it is. He's a philosopher.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I would not disgrace philosophers in that way.
You make some bloopers out of this one. Shit.
Fuck yeah. So the Journal for Children Development had a study done in 2014 that lasted, the end was 2014. The end. They followed people for 32 years, and they found the influences within the first 3.5 years of their life determined the rest of their life.
Wow.
Bam.
What the fuck? Say that one more time. Go ahead.
So the Journal for Child Development study done in 2014, finished in 2014, followed, I think it was over 100 people, and they found that the influences that the children received in their first 3.5 years of life determined the rest of their life, their jobs, their romantic relationships.
Holy
everything,
fuck.
How they get along with peers, everything.
I'm glad I'm doing an all right job then, I guess, because my daughter's going to be 3 this month.
Fuck.
Now,
that's crazy.
How is that not determinism? Yeah, you're free to make choices, but what's been put in really weighs heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely like gives you a whole different perspective on parenting too.
And if you're getting down listening to this, don't. We're going to turn it around at the end.
Yeah.
Because when I first started studying this, I was super depressed, honestly.
Well,
I went through so many emotions doing this.
Yeah.
I went depressed.
Well, immediately I went to parenting, like my kids.
Yeah.
Immediately that's what I was thinking. I was like, holy fuck, did I fuck up my kid's future in some way, shape, or form by working late and not being there like when I wish I could have been, but I don't know. Like that had me thinking now for a little bit, but yeah, like you said, we'll turn it around.
Well, I feel like a shit. All right, keep going.
Right.
Yeah. So another
Who wants to sit on their balls?
Put your hand down.
Put your hand down, Frank.
I want to sit on my balls.
Nobody wants to.
Thanks, Matt.
So
everybody thank Matt. Thanks, Matt. Sit on my balls.
I feel like Frank's one of those guys that likes he wants his women to stomp on his balls.
What? Oh
What?
God, no.
You know what
Oh
it
my
was?
God, no.
Step on my cubes.
I don't know what's worse. That or
was
the
Family
guys
Guy.
that like the bigger women sitting on them. Do you ever see those little scrawny guys?
Yeah.
That like when the bigger girls sit on them.
I don't get it.
That's
Mhm.
weird.
They were predetermined to like
That was
That's
pretty
determinism.
Determinism. They were always going to do that.
Mommy used to squeeze me.
But there was another study done in 2005 by Robert McCrae, and it found just where you're born determines how you end up socially and financially.
Oh, well, then there's our excuses.
Well, we're
Schuylkill
fucked.
County. Here we go.
Seriously.
You may say excuse, but there's a lot of weight to it. There's a lot of weight to it. And
Give me the damn veggies.
they actually found if you're born in Europe, more likely to be adventurous and outgoing than if you're born in Asia. And they did a whole bunch. I just picked that
What's
one out.
America like? You're more
I don't remember seeing America in the
Confused
study,
and-
actually.
angry.
I don't want to know.
Angry.
Very hungry for sugar.
You're right.
love sugar and hate thy neighbor. I
Right.
guess it is.
But I mean, if you think about it, so one of the big problems with determinism is blame,
Well, yeah, that's
responsibility.
what I think about. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, this is predetermined. I can't be held responsible for that. Look at where I grew up. No, challenge yourself. Get out of that. Change the cycle, like Brian was talking about.
What if you biologically, physically, mentally can't?
Well, then that goes back to the whole.
Yeah, free
Born-
will, damn it.
No, that goes back to
Do
the
it.
whole you were born with a disability kind of thing. You were
Yeah.
born without, so you're born lacking something that you can't break the cycle. Then there you go. That's determinism for you. But
So what's the point of law?
huh?
What's the point of law?
Keep people in order and not give them an excuse. Like, hey, I don't care where you
So
come from. You
determinism,
can't
there
kill
was
some-
always
I
going to
don't
be
care
law.
if I don't care if you got the shit kicked out of you. You can't kick the shit out of somebody like that.
Right.
Like, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Well,
You
they're
can't
not-
sit there and say, "Oh, well, this happened because my daddy did it to me." You can't do that. You know what I mean? You can't do that.
You can't. No, not in our system. Not
Thank
at
you.
all.
Thank you for that.
But yeah, that
Common
is
sense, people.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, very true. So
If that's
In-
the case, I'm going out. We're going out. It's like purge. Be like a weekly purge.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the case. I can't be held responsible for my actions because I had a shitty life, you know, when I was growing up. Not, I could bullshit. I had a good life with my mom, but
Right.
I could bullshit and say, oh, well, my dad wasn't there for me, and that caused me to have mental anguish the first 3.5 years of my life. So now I just want to go out and purge and get all that out because I can't help myself because it's a determinism. That's ridiculous.
that is a real thing in our law system, though.
Yeah.
There is places for determinism.
Yeah.
There is. You came up and you had a crappy background, you're going to get a lighter sentence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There
that's
is
crazy.
instances like that. You don't have the mental capabilities to do something. Well, guess what? You're not going to be held as liable as somebody who has the mental capabilities of doing that thing. You know what I mean?
That's unjust.
Is it? If they were forced to do that because they were determined to be that way.
See, that's the thing. I hear those words and it's like forced. Was it forced? No, you made a decision and you did something bad. You did it, and now you have to face the consequences.
How could it be a decision if
You're hurting
everything
my
in
head.
your life made you make that decision?
No.
That's
I disagree.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I don't think so.
I don't
I think
agree
it's a
with
cop
that.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's a cop out.
Like,
Yep.
what do you mean?
It's a cop out.
It's a way to get off with, to get
Yep.
away with things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where they struggle with, because science falls hard on determinism. It does. And this is one of the points they fail at. Now they try and bring morality into it as, you know, furthering your kind or whatever. But ultimately, if your morality is based on feelings, it's going to fail.
Yeah. That has to be on logic.
Yeah, it has to be on
Feelings,
yeah.
you know, facts over feelings, baby, all day, every day.
Yeah.
Even if it hurts my feelings, I'll suck it up. You know what I
Right.
mean? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I like constructive criticism. I'm not.
Same.
Can't be weak. Weak men make hard times.
I heard
Hey,
that.
I just saw that on your Facebook.
Yeah.
Clocks
Good
go
stuff.
back. It said
Yeah, it's
clocks
great.
go back tonight. Hopefully back to 1776 when men had balls.
Pretty much. Yeah. You
Nice, dude.
know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So, with all of this being laid out, if morality has no basis in determinism, can you then prove through morality that free will exists?
Say that one more time.
If morality has no basis in determinism, can you prove free will exists based off morality?
You're breaking my brain.
You can't. That's the problem.
I think everybody has free will until there's something that they want. And then they break their free will to do what they want to get what they want. So, for instance, money. You have as much free will as you want until you find your point in a position where you need money and you're at that breaking point and you're at your lowest. We've all been there, man. You're at your lowest and you're like, oh, well, my morality tells me I should not do this and such, or, you know what I mean? And I know I would normally not do that, but this is desperate times, desperate measures. I'm going to go against my free will of making this decision, you know, for the good or whatever. And you know what I mean? That's the way I'm looking at it. It'll bend the way I'm looking at it is you have free will until it comes to a point where it's still ultimately a choice, right? You still make the choice, but sometimes you don't have a choice to make, right? It's really like, I need to do this for me and my family. And there's no thoughts about it.
Or the alternative is
worse.
Yeah.
So I'm still making a choice at the end of the day, but I'm not. It's kind of like mandates.
Your hands are being forced.
Exactly. You lost free will with mandate.
Yeah.
Yes.
You still can make a decision, but what's your decision? What's the fallout? Oh, I've been doing this job for 30 years. I'm making really good money. It took me a long time to get here. I've been at this company for 30 years to get this job because I came up from the bottom to the top. And now you're telling me I can either keep this, that I've worked my career and how long I've worked and how hard I worked, or I get a shot, or I don't get a shot, and I can't keep this career anymore. Where's the free will in that? Yeah, ultimately have a, but you know what I mean.
And then not only that, like the ethical dilemmas that you'd have, like because of, so like, what do you do if you need to feed your family? Do you steal food to feed your family, or
that's
do you
what I was trying to say?
Yeah, no, you just let them starve. So it's
exactly,
like,
you're getting
so
it.
Yeah, I got it. That's what. So
you know. And that's the thing. Like, what about death? Like, I have the free will that I want to keep living, but if it comes down to it, that I'm put in a place, in a position that somebody has a gun to my daughter's head and somebody else has a gun to my head and says, you choose your life or her life. My free will's gone. Keep her alive.
Yeah.
See, these are things your mind are conscious of.
Yeah.
What about things your mind isn't conscious of?
Well, I don't know about those.
That's why we're here.
So give me a scenario.
That's the problem. Like you making judgments, your brain has already been proven to create shortcuts that cuts your mind out of decisions. And we don't even know how deep that goes.
I don't know. I kind of always try to think about everything I do.
Yeah, what about the things you don't think about?
So that's the beautiful thing.
You don't know about it.
I mean,
see, there's things, there's known knowns, there's known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things that we don't know that we don't know.
No.
True. And your brain has a lot of those.
Anyone
and
know
your
what that's
mind's
from?
not aware of it.
Oh.
No.
That was the Samuel Jackson thing where he's like, he said, just because you have proof that something doesn't exist doesn't mean that you have proof that something does exist. What country are you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of. They speak English and what? No, I'm sorry. I digress.
I'm totally lost. Where was I? Dang it. Dang it. Where were we? Son of a.
We were talking about. We were talking about things that you don't know to know with the Samuel Jackson and.
Oh, about how I'm saying that I always think about everything.
Yeah, you think about everything.
Oh, that's it. God.
Yeah, that's why I went off on that little tangent.
So in psychology, so heuristics is psychology. This goes across so many different fields. It's not even funny. In psychology, the way to beat heuristics, which is the brain making shortcuts without your mind being aware of it, the way to beat that is to do exactly what you said. Slow down, stop, think about what you're doing, and weigh it out. You have to literally slow your brain down so your mind can make the right decision. That's a way to beat heuristics because there's so many different heuristics.
Well, I mean,
you get to touch them all.
That's why I'm good at my job, because I always think of different ways that can be manipulative to what I'm doing and stuff like that.
Well, I believe that, like, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, because if you're not hustling through stuff, you're not making mistakes. You don't have to go back and fix things, And I was just telling you before about like work, coming in and things are all just like, it's real hectic. And then you have to take control for a second. And it's like, all right, hold on. Where are these guys at? What are they doing? Slow down a second. Give me these guys to go here. You take these guys, go here, and then send these guys here, do this. Like, so if you take your time and just kind of slow down a little bit, and then things that we didn't think we were going to be able to get done that day got done because everything was more organized. So as long as you're organized, I think, made a good point though.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything.
It's
Even when
quality.
I'm playing around with like woodworking or whatever like that, you ever see those shorts or those TikToks or whatever, the guy like has a piece of wood and it's only off by like an eighth of an inch or something like that. And they go cut it and it comes back and it's like 3 inches off. That's exactly how it is. If you're hustling, you're like, oh, well, this is 34 and 3/8. I'll do that real quick, go over and cut it and be like, oh shit, it shouldn't have been 3/8, should have been 5/8.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and now that whole board's no good. And I got to figure out, can I reuse that somewhere else? Cause I'm not thinking right, or because I'm hustling through it. It's exactly the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was predetermined that you were going to make that bad cut though.
My grandfather was a horrible carpenter, so that means I'm going to be a horrible carpenter. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
No matter how much practice or Bob Vila or whatever. I'm showing my age, Bob Vila.
Bob Vila.
Do you know who that is?
I don't.
Oh my God, I'm old as hell. It's okay. How about Tim the Toolman Taylor?
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Good.
I remember that.
All right,
yeah.
good.
It's Tim Allen.
Yeah.
I'm not quite a boomer.
Tim the
but what the hell.
Toolman Taylor.
So with all this though, I think free will is too broad. I think they need to reel that in. I think they're asking the wrong question. I don't think nobody's ultimately a free agent. You don't have freedom to do whatever you want. You have choices.
Yeah, you make choices.
Freedom to make choices.
Yeah.
I think it should be freedom to make choices because there's no denying that cause and effect exists. Nobody can deny that. Something happens, something's going to happen because of it.
Right.
It's
like
impossible to deny.
if I punch Frank in the
You're
face,
gonna die.
He's gonna get
Well, that's up to me.
That's my cause of effect.
That's up to me then, for me to make that,
Right.
that
Then you make a
reaction.
choice. Right.
The reaction to your action.
Right.
Yeah.
But being an alpha, you're not going to let
I don't-
somebody just
No,
punch you in the
I
face.
Your
That's not
brain
gonna be good.
shortcut would be die, motherfucker.
I don't
see
even
red.
want to think about that. I don't wanna
See
think
red
about that.
and beat the shit out of
Been
me.
a long
No,
time
it's
since
all-
I actually struck someone. Let's put it this way: struck someone to hurt someone.
Yeah.
We'll say
I don't
I've
know why I
struck a lot of people, but
I
it
don't
was
know why I
more of a
keep
wrestling.
attacking you.
That's fine.
It's like prison. You can find the biggest, baddest motherfucker in the place. You beat the shit out of him, and then so
I guess either that or you just become somebody's bitch. That's huge.
listen.
That's right. I'm
You know,
somebody's
but-
bitch.
That's who was that? It was Channing. Was it Channing Tatum? Who was it? Who was that?
It was from the movie How High, I think it was, wasn't it?
How
It was
High?
one of the dudes. It was Kenny when he got locked up, and then he's like, "Did you hear that?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
somebody's bitch."
Yeah. Okay. I remember.
We
now.
gotta save sweet virgin Kenny's ass, man. He's got a sweet.
Holy.
I can't even say it right. Kenny's sweet virgin ass, man. That's a great movie. You ever seen that movie?
I have not. No.
Yeah. No, it's Half Baked.
Half baked.
Half
is
Baked,
what it
not
is.
How High. How High is the one with Red Man and Method Man.
Actually, I haven't seen How High.
It's
I
Jim
have seen Half
Brewer.
Baked.
Jim
Yeah,
Brewer's
yeah,
in it. You never seen How High?
Oh my
That's when-
god.
that's
I
when
You
the-
saw
did.
How High.
Hey, I'm
You
a
didn't see-
ghost, man. When he's
Yeah,
high.
I did see that one. Oh my god, I forgot about
Love
that
my
movie.
movies, man. I love
Holy
my movies.
crap. All right, so
Tangent. Whoa, squirrel.
yeah, squirrel.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
So
Back to it.
this leads us to directly in the United States, our government gives us determinism.
Oh yeah. Everybody's government gives them determinism. Look at Canada, eh? Look at them.
Oh yeah, Canada's terrible.
To the point where you're determined you're not going to be able to have any more money on your cards or nothing because you're in this truck or something like that.
Yeah, that's
whatever they're doing
crazy.
Up there.
Yeah,
Now they're
I
talking
mean-
about pushing IDs again.
Mhm.
Pushing IDs up there again now, which we should do a podcast about IDs and in general and just how ridiculous things are.
Okay.
That stuff. We'll have to
Yeah,
do that
heck
sometime.
yeah, we could do that.
I've been thinking about that a lot.
But yeah, if you think you're not determined by your government, try and leave the country.
Oh yeah. Good luck
Right.
with that.
Yeah, only 12% of the United States has a passport.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, the government is ultimately determinism. You don't have free will.
Oh.
States
They go wherever you want.
to do whatever you want.
You have
to go
more
wherever
free
you
will
want.
here than other places, though.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
most.
Most places.
And the other places that have more, I don't know if it'd be worth living in.
Yeah.
You know, the Lebanons, the Iraqs. I don't know if I'd want to
Right.
live there. You're more
good.
likely to get
I'm-
shot. But
I'm
in
good on
America, you're more
visiting, too.
likely to die from diabetes.
Well,
That's a choice.
It is a choice.
Is
it to be uneducated?
Is it?
Actually, let's put it
So-
this way. It's not. It's not a choice.
Not.
It is and it isn't. It's determinism that the FDA allows all the horse shit to be put in the food to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's determinism.
Yes.
But you can make choices to try to get around that. So it's kind of a little bit of both. So if you eat all organic, or you stay away from high fructose corn syrup, and you stay away from food dyes and stuff like that. Like, why do you got to put food dye in a freaking marshmallow, bro? Do you know they have food dye in marshmallow? Blue food dye goes in marshmallow.
I've heard.
What
that,
the hell is
Yeah.
yellow number 6?
That's a food dye.
Because so I was drinking something yesterday and I looked on it. It said yellow number 6, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Enjoy.
the fucker number 6?
Yeah,
What the hell's
so
where's number 1, 2, 3, and 4,
Who
or 5?
cares? Who
What are they?
cares?
Do you see? So red dye number 4, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
actually has been proven now to be linked to ADHD and spikes in it.
You know what?
If you have a kid with ADHD, give him some with red food dye number 4 or whatever it is, and watch their energy level just shoot through.
No. Aries he's hyper enough. I don't need to do that.
I think we're gonna have to do a podcast on food.
Yes.
Oh.
Specific. We'll have to get a little more specific, but yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off.
But I think we need to pull that in. Like try to educate people on food dyes and FDA, and try to be healthy and find purpose. Start eating more food for function.
Yeah,
stuff like that. So
that episode is coming.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that episode is coming. All right.
I'm excited.
I like food.
Let's
I do.
turn.
Still fasted right now.
Let's turn this sinking ship around. What are you doing?
Fasted. Hungry. Thinking about food.
Frank stole a kid at heart.
Giant kid over here.
Love food. Love food, man.
Dude, my son Aries
Good.
was doing that last night at like 11 o'clock, sitting
Told you.
down on the couch. Like he's just like bouncing around, getting up, like doing cartwheels. I'm like, dude, go to fucking sleep.
Dude, I don't know how you guys haven't noticed it. I shake my leg all the fucking time. And
That's a good thing, actually.
You guys haven't noticed any of that
Yes,
stuff?
I have actually.
Okay.
And it's a good. I've noticed it because I learned it's actually a good thing to do that.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a
helps,
good
helps
thing.
get my
Why it's a good
anxiety
thing?
out and shit like that.
Anxiety is number 1.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Number 2 is it burns calories.
Mhm.
So it keeps your body burning.
Yeah.
Like it.
And number 3 is it actually helps your brain to focus if you're having a hard time focusing.
Yeah, man. I do crazy shit. Like when I was doing,
It's actually
when I was at work,
fascinating.
I can
I
see
would-
your chair shaking.
yeah,
right
when I was
now.
at work, when I was at work, I would doing like a crazy go live. I would be there for like 12 hours or whatever like that. And I would just start doing like boots and pants. I'd stick on boots and pants. And that would get my mind going and get me like my
That was on a
anxiety calm
commercial.
down and stuff like that. Yeah,
Nice.
it's Puss in Boots.
No, it was a
Wasn't it?
commercial with it was a pig. The pig from, or was it the pig?
I take
Fuck.
the bacon right now. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it was like he just like was walking around.
You are
hungry,
hungry.
Now I'm gonna have to look that up and figure out.
All right,
what
we
it
are
was.
way off topic.
No, we're not. The determinism. We were determined to talk about that.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
determined
no matter
to get
what.
some damn food soon. That's right now.
No matter what we did, we were always going to talk about bacon and pigs and commercials.
yeah.
But anyways, there is studies to back up the fidgeting, by the way. There
Cool.
is.
We
Yeah,
should
that's
talk
actually
about
been
that sometime.
proven.
Anxiety, because it sucks.
Yeah.
Talk about anxiety.
Miserable.
You guys, that's
Sorry.
You're like a dog with a squirrel.
We have a good time.
Good Lord.
This is good times. I have good times. I have good times.
It's not.
I like talking.
It's all good. It's
All
all
right.
good.
Sorry. Let's go. We
right.
got this.
So,
Moving on.
the issue with determinism, while it's widely accepted in the scientific community and widely, there's no hard, fast evidence. It's philosophy.
Mhm.
That's why this has been going on for 2,000 years. We're getting closer with studying neurons and brains when they activate and MRIs with
Yeah.
them and stuff. So we are getting and CAT scans, and we're getting closer to understanding the brain, but there's still no hard evidence
Well,
of it being true.
I mean, the way this is from like high level summary of this whole conversation we had so far, we can really just replace free will and determinism with nature versus nurture, in my
Yes.
opinion. Right? Because that's all it is what outside forces manipulated you to be more determined in one way than have free will. Because if you weren't manipulated in that fashion, you'd have more free will or more freedom to make choices. Like you were talking about the government takes away some of our free will and makes it more determinism. We already discovered that, being born with an abnormality or a physical disability or something like that is more determinism than free will. So there are things that do manipulate it, but again, that's all nature versus nurture.
100%. Yeah, because I mean, so the outside causes definitely have an effect.
Absolutely.
For sure. There's no doubt about that. It's the internal stuff that's starting to get weird.
The way your brain's processing what's going on.
Yeah.
To make, for you to make the decisions that you need to make.
Yeah, because you're not just physical.
Yeah.
There is, like I said, there's mind and brain. They work together. And sure, brain pretty much controls mind, but they are separate. Most people don't agree with that. And they don't agree you have a soul either. But there is a separation there, in my mind at least, that those two things are separate.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, because you can't scientifically study a soul.
No.
How do you study a soul? Nobody can prove it. Nobody can disprove it. Like you were saying, you can't prove it. You can't disprove it. Does it exist?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel it does.
Well, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that aspect of it is not proven. This is still philosophy. If you really back science and you really back the top philosophers, because the top philosophers right now, 3 out of 4 of them all side with determinism. All of them, they do. And the 4th one is considered an absolute wingnut because he doesn't. Now, he doesn't believe in, I'm not going to quote what he believes. He doesn't believe in, he doesn't believe in libertarianism. He doesn't believe that you can be absolutely free, but he does believe there is a free will aspect to life. I think there's somewhere in the gray, like you were saying in the beginning, there's somewhere in the gray that we haven't discovered, that we can't scientifically study yet, that there is no real knowledge of. Because if you look at all the science and all the studies, I don't know how you can deny determinism. It is proven, cause and effect. There's no getting out of that. You can't actually get out of that.
You even see it in the ghettos and stuff, right? Like, people are born in the ghetto and stuff. They're going to have not as much of an opportunity as people that aren't. I mean, at least that's from the studies and everything I've seen. So, because I didn't grow up in the ghetto, but so that's determinism, obviously. And look at me compared to like other people that get a loan off their grandparents or their parents for $1 million or whatever like that, and they're born in the wealth.
Yeah,
they have more they're going to have more free will than I am, because it's going to be determined that they have more free will than I do because they actually have more opportunity coming from wealth, knowing wealthy people, and then and when we were talking about determinism being where you're born and stuff, right? So honestly, Schuylkill County, there's more opportunity outside of Schuylkill County than there is in the inside. Yep. I've lived on both. You know what I mean? I have actually lost opportunity talking to people and rubbing elbows with people that I would have met on the road or met it's elsewhere in another state when I lived in Ohio and everything like that. Than here.
Yeah.
But is everything all that predetermined, or is that all just an effect off of a free will choice that somebody made?
Well, it's both, right? Because when my situation, it was predetermined that I was here. I was determined that I was born here. I was raised here, but then I made a choice and moved out, and then I made another choice and came back.
Well, that's my point. I'm saying.
See what I'm saying? So it's both.
It's not straight determinism. No. That's what I agree with you there. I agree with you with that. So it's not straight determinism. Not everything is just a cause and effect, and that's all it is, and everything is predetermined for the rest of the time. I think everything is an effect. Oh. Everything that we see right now is an effect of a free will choice that somebody's made. Yep. Like us being here on this podcast. This is an effect of a choice that we collectively made together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This particular podcast is an effect of a conversation that we had about doing this podcast.
Yeah. And everybody has the free will to open their mind and challenge themselves to say like, hey, I came from this. I'm not going to be this. I'm not going to let that make who I am.
Yeah.
Have self-reflection. If you can. I mean, unless there's like an ability, unless you have like a mental disability that you can't come to light and challenge yourself for a better version of yourself, you should be able to make that free will and, have that free will and choice to like say, you know what, I'm not really going to be like that. I don't want to be like that anymore. Or I don't want to be like that because of the previous experience or whatever like that. But you have that choice to not be predetermined to be like that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Sure he goes. Shit.
No, I mean, I disagree. I don't see how that's possible.
Why?
Because everything influences you to make decisions. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but you're
can't.
making but you can make the choice. Okay, it's understandable, but you can make the choice to be around those people to manipulate it, right? So, like,
I
I
think
can make a
that's-
choice
yeah.
to hang out with you, or I
Yeah.
can make a choice to go hang out with meth addicts.
Yes.
And if I hang out with meth addicts, they're probably going to predetermine me to be a meth addict.
right.
You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
if I
and
hang
that-
out with you guys, I'm predetermined to be educated on determinism and free will. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
It's my
I
free
think
will to be here.
even if you do believe in determinism, which I lean heavily that way,
Okay.
I really do. I think there's a gray area that maybe there's something we're not finding, and it's probably true that we're not finding the actual option of choice that we can make. But even if you do believe in determinism, just think about it. You can use that to guide your future. It's actually a tool. Who you hang out with? What are you doing with your free time?
Yeah.
If you do something positive with your free time, you learn something. That's gonna give you more
Yeah,
determinism
but you're
to
making
go.
but you're
do more
making,
successful.
Aren't you making that choice to do that though?
Are you?
Yeah.
Is it not a cause of this podcast if somebody goes and picks up a book?
fucking
Well,
A.
I mean,
So okay,
yeah.
so I didn't have this podcast,
Uh-huh.
and instead of me following a family like legacy of drugs and alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to be around you guys.
you obviously didn't
your
read
families
either.
and-
So.
Shut the fuck. You still can't read, and you're making fun of me.
You still
true.
can't read.
That's true. I just make it look like I'm on here, like I'm doing
Right.
something. I'm
Hank's
totally
Yeah.
still chiseling stones back here.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, that again.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
Go
I
set
had
us
I
down.
had a lot of positive influences around me, and that was a choice. I could have hung out with a lot of my family and a lot of people that were, and I was around. It's not that I wasn't around those influences, because I was. I was
Mhm.
around when people were fucking snorting meth right in front of me, or smoking pot, or like just when I was a kid, like that age. Like I was around a lot of different things. People doing heroin. There's a guy died in a room right next to me, which I didn't.
Dang.
I was a kid. Like I didn't know. You know, that's just what my dad had me around at the time. You know, so I made a choice
Not
that
good.
I looked at it. No, okay, so now, all right. Hold on a second. So because of what I saw and what I experienced, I chose to get away. All right,
Uh-oh.
fuck off.
Uh-oh.
All right, I see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, I believe that it was still my choice to get away from that.
Yeah, so
I
there
made
was
that.
there was a famous philosopher a couple 1,000 years ago, and he came to the decision of determinism, and he said, "But I reject it. I can't say, even though my philosophy says there's no other explanation, I feel I have free will. I think it's free will of choice, but
I mean, yeah.
yeah. But he said, I
Well, that's what I
can't-
think it is. Like, I don't think of
I-
free will anything else other than choice.
Well, a lot of people, there's a lot of different definitions of it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like free will could be like whatever you want to do. I can be an
Well,
Olympian.
no,
I
you
can be an
can't.
Olympian. You know what I mean?
Stand up,
Yeah.
You
'cause I wanna
can't.
stand up.
Yeah, right. That was predetermined, by the way. So
Your legs are
Motherfucker.
determined.
Right.
Stop hanging out with your legs.
Yeah, the fuck.
Tell your legs to
I'm just gonna cut them off.
Tell your legs to fuck off.
Yeah, but I mean, so like, there's Jordan Peterson even had this thing where he said, if you take your hand, right, and you decide you're going to hit it off the table, right, and you start that action called a ballistic action, right, your mind cannot actually interject in between you deciding that to stop and not hit the table. That's how fast the decision is versus your mind being able to do it.
What?
You already had that predetermined, decided not to. You see what I'm
I
saying?
see,
Gotcha.
yeah,
You can't
okay.
make a split-second decision in there, and that could be the dominoes falling, which is creepy.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Now, he doesn't believe in that. He leans free will.
Yeah.
He really does.
It's, I think, I agree with you, though. I think it's free will of choice.
Yeah, free will of choice.
Because, like you said, I can't.
You can't deny
I can't.
cause and effect.
I mean,
You can't.
But
I mean, I guess
you can use
technically
it.
you can. Like, so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, so I'm a bigger dude. Can I be an equestrian, like one of those race horse?
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, I guess it is my free will that I can do that, but that horse is going to be miserable. And we're not going anywhere.
The reason you can't is an effect of you constantly going to the gym and working out. You're too heavy.
Yeah,
And tall.
And
I think they're
And
like
tall.
5 feet for riding.
Yeah, how the hell does that's an actual like
pint size.
Yeah, for horse racing. I'm sorry, I'm talking horse racing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
horse
that's what you were
racing.
talking. Yeah, you have to be
yeah.
like 5 feet and like 100 pounds.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like,
it's a short man's game.
It'd be
Yeah.
pint size.
Because the lighter you are, the faster horse.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And you have to be,
So-
the bald. You have to be bald, and you have to have like a cone head for to be aerodynamic. It's a select few people.
Born, not C-section, sir.
So that's predetermined. There you go. That's predetermined. You gotta have no helmets when you're a baby. You know how the babies get the helmets when they have those deformed. No, you gotta look like coneheads from France.
Nice.
From that movie.
Smart.
Coneheads.
Oh, that movie was horrible.
I
I don't care what you say. That was a
We
horrible.
come from France.
I wasted an hour and a half of my life on that movie. Oh
Come
my
from France.
god.
Subway got a good deal on it though when they were
I
eating.
don't remember.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the
I tried to
commercials
block
and
that
stuff.
from my memory.
I do remember that.
France. I come from France.
But yeah, no, I mean, so genetics goes all the way back to Big Bang.
Yep.
Genetics goes all the way back to the creation of Earth. So genetics are predetermined. You can't. There's no out for that yet.
So I was always always gonna
yet.
be this good looking.
Well, hold on a second. Yes, you are. So hold on a second though. If it's
Oh,
predetermined
sarcasm.
about your genetics, but you're choosing your spouse to make your genetic,
Mm-hmm.
how is that not free will?
Well, because you're predetermined to choose your spouse based off of your experiences and what she would provide.
That's not true because I've dated girls that or dated women that provided nothing.
Okay, so then that goes back to the physical act of hormones influencing your brain, which 100% does and has been proven over and over. Hormones influence your decisions crazily.
Yeah, especially if those hormones were with alcohol.
Everybody
Yeah.
in the world needs to listen to this podcast because holy shit.
This is why it's still debated for so long.
I still think it's nature versus nurture because we still talk about nature versus nurture. What is, hormones and everything like that? Versus nurture.
Yeah, I mean,
Nature gave me these hormones and I'm not able to do these things. And then, nature or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but ultimately, I mean, just use it as a tool, even
Yeah.
if you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, keep going on about your life,
Yep.
making the better decisions.
Yep.
If you do believe in it,
Another
use it.
tool in your toolbox. Like we
Yeah.
talked about opportunity cost. Here's another one.
Yeah, and cause
Determinism.
and effect.
Free will,
and
cause
So
effect.
is that kind of like the whole thing where it's like if you want to be a millionaire, you associate yourself with millionaires, that type of thing?
Yeah.
If you can get it
Is
associated.
that what you mean
with
by like using it
millionaires.
as a tool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, get
So if
in
you're-
with those people.
If you're predetermined, so
Start.
if you don't want to be a drug addict, if you want to be on drugs, if you
Don't
want
hang out with people who do
don't
drugs.
hang out with people who do drugs. If you want to,
Yeah.
if you want
Don't
to
have them around you.
have a positive work ethic, hang out with people that have positive work ethics,
Yeah.
things like that.
Positive people. I know positive people.
Yeah.
That's why I've always said as you get older, the good. I mean, all right, I'll say it. So to my head, people equals shit. It's just how it is. The average person is a shitbag.
Mm.
That's pretty much how it is. So when you find somebody that's not like that, you try to like hold on to them a little bit and try
Yeah.
to keep that. You care about that relationship a little bit more,
Yeah,
especially as you get older. You know what I mean? You have less relationships. People die. People get ippity about political beliefs. There's lots of reasons why you lose friends these days. It's
Yeah.
stupid reasons, and
Mhm.
people don't understand it about opportunity cost of time. So, I mean,
so
I try not
opportunity
to,
cost of time.
another benefit to determinism is you can have a more gracious look upon people because you see, their circumstances that may have brought them to this decision that they're making a big mistake on.
Yeah. However, that on the flip side of that enables though at the same
It
time.
does.
Correct. So I mean, again,
Yes.
there's a fine line there. Like the whole cop out versus I really feel for you, but this is the 7th time you've done it now. I think it's time that an action has to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
know,
overuse that
yeah,
for sure and
absolutely,
abuse
yeah.
that. And
I
then,
guess it helps with forgiveness too.
yes,
So like
it helps with forgiveness.
But then again, enablement.
Right. I know. I'm just, but like,
there is a line that you can't cross because you can overuse it, like you're saying.
And then what if you're a words of affirmation person? Oh no, that's not good at all. Because you'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is the 36th time I've done this to you. I love you so much. I know you do, baby. It's okay. Do it again.
So I thought about I thought about like
I know those couples.
I thought about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I thought about that. Then I was like, okay, like he forgave them. Maybe he looked at it as like
well, I don't really want to get into the religion aspect of it, but I'm going to get into it. So there's Calvinism, which believes in determinism. That's kind of what Baptists are. And I think a majority of churches are more deterministic with God, because if God has everything front to back, he knows everything from beginning to end, he helps guide your life. How can you have decisions made if he's guiding it? There's a lot to unpack in there, and I've lost friends over this debate. It's so hard because then you go back and you say, you have to believe in God.
Yeah.
So it's an open check given to you that you got to write your name on. But then, is that really you or is it God? Because he said he's predestined us to be with him. So then does he predestine others to go to hell? I mean, I'm getting a little off topic, but it's still the same.
You're not off
the way I
topic.
look at it is this way, is that God or your divine right gives you your path and says, this is your path of righteousness. Don't detour from your path of righteousness. And then that's where free will of choice comes in, where you can detour from your path of righteousness. He doesn't set your whole life up for you. He gives you a path, but it's up for you to stay on that righteous path. But a lot of, that's where the devil comes in then, right? So the devil comes in to try to get you off that path and tries to influence you to make decisions and free will of decisions to get off that path and not do God's work. Right?
Right.
So I believe in that.
Yeah.
You're not losing this friendship over that, buddy.
Is free will the devil's work and determinism's God?
No, you can't think of it like that. Free will is free will. It's your free will to decide whether you go light or dark. Right?
I've heard two explanations to this, which the first one was by Ravi Zacharias. Great guy, got caught up in a scandal near after he died, but great guy, has amazing teachings. He said free will and he was a compatibilist. He said free will and determinism exist together. And God, if you're putting him in a box that you say he can't give you free will while he gets his path done, then you put him in a box, and God can't be put in a box.
No, he can't.
He said it's like an Indian rug weaver. You can't see the design when it's done. You don't know what's going on, but they do. And they're weaving in between all these different lines of free will versus God's determination. And you eventually get this grandmaster picture at the end of what it is.
Yeah.
That's one way I've heard it to explain. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
It weaves together free will and his determinism to make this beautiful picture. The other way is, and there's a lot of arguments against it, is you make the decision and God, after your decision, keeps his path, his determination, but he bases it off of your decisions because he knows all the decisions you're going to make. So he still works around that and gets it through. The only issue with that is then you make yourself God and not God by making God
follow your decisions.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
But then you're putting God in a box again because he's a gentleman. He's going to let you go to hell if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
He's not going to make you come join him.
Right.
You have to wait, there's pretenses that you need to have to even be able to join them. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. So
that's crazy. So either that's I can see why it's a debate.
This is why I've lost friends over it.
Yeah.
It gets intense. Yeah, so I'm a bit of a compatibilist, but I lean more towards determinism. It's hard not to.
Yeah, you're making it very hard.
But it doesn't have to be depressing or sad or anything. Use it all as tools to keep going forward. Keep living your life. Like, if you believe in determinism, that's fine. Leave it on the shelf.
Yeah.
I think there's one place in science where you have truth, but you do the other thing. You still live like you have free will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really give it. I don't really give it.
I covered up one of the cameras. Forget you, Frank.
That's all right. Hopefully he's focusing on you anyways.
Yeah, no.
They're gonna say no.
Live like you have free will.
Oh yeah, so I don't really give a shit what anybody does that's listening to this podcast about determinism or free will. If you choose to go with determinism, that's fine, as long as you don't use it to hold you back.
Yeah,
Like you can't say like, oh well, it's predetermined that I'm going to be stuck in this rut and stuck at this job, and I'm not going to be able to go anywhere, and it's just predetermined determinism. My father was a laborer, my grandfather was a laborer. I'm just going to be a laborer. Don't be like that. You
Don't
can't
use
do
it
that.
as an excuse.
Break the fucking mold.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of the box, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Challenge it. Be like, you know what? It's determined that I'm going to be like this. I'm supposed to just be a laborer, but fuck that. I'm not going to be a laborer. I'm too smart for that.
Break the cycle.
I'm too weak for that. I need to figure something else out. Whatever your fucking reason may be. To break the cycle. Do it. Just don't use it as a clutch. That's all I'm saying. Don't use it as a cop out.
Yes.
Don't use it as a cop out.
Use your determinism to enable you to break out of it.
Yeah.
If that's what you believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Use it. I mean, that's a way, that's a tool. That's like we said, it's a tool. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
I've said it before. If you want an excuse not to do something, it's easy to find one.
Mhm.
But
I mean,
if you want to, it's hard to make, the right choice, and it's hard to do that. But not everything has to be easy. Now, if you want something in life,
it has to be hard.
you know what I mean? If you want
If it was
something
easy,
in life,
everybody would be doing it.
if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's, if it's hard, like why not suffer for it?
Yeah.
If it's worth it, why not suffer for it?
Yeah.
If you want a good body and you want to look good, go into the gym and suffer.
If you're worried about health, be healthy.
Yeah.
But you have to put time and energy.
Stop eating a bunch of junk food just because you want to fill your stomach.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to suffer a little bit from things that you want, or things, it might hurt, but that's life.
Well, and same, you're talking about the body and stuff. I wasn't even getting into that, but you could think, oh, well, my parents are fat. My grandparents are fat. Everybody is obese in my family. So it's predetermined that I have the genetics for me to be obese. No, it's not. It's literally calories in, calories out. So, again, just don't let it hold yourself back. Another tool for the tool belt. I like that we try to give out tools all the time to help us with mind frame and thought process and challenging. And at the end of the day, really, my purpose in this life for myself and others is just to challenge everybody and make better versions of each other.
Yeah.
So like if I could challenge you or have this conversation and make you think about it and challenge your brain and you think about it more and you're like, wow, that makes sense or whatever. And now you think I'm going to start applying that in my everyday life. Like, the opportunity cost. I'm going to start applying that in my life now. Now you're a better version than you just were.
Yeah.
So that's great. You know what I mean? That's kind of what we're here for. These tools into a tool belt. Well, how can I use this tool to make me a better version of myself? Really all you're doing is you're your own project. The way I look at it is I'm my own project. I have better versions, new releases of myself all the time. Sometimes these new versions have bugs. You know what I'm saying? That need to be resolved in the next version, stuff like that. But I treat it kind of like I'm developing myself. You know what I mean? I'm a programmer, so I take it like in stride with that. So I'm programming myself. I'm making a better version of myself. I want to run more efficiently. I want to have more thought into it. I want to have more feeling. I want to be a better version of a dad, this version. You know what I mean? Or what's my change log look like for this version? Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it is. Because at the end of the day, if you can make a better version of you and never be stagnant, complacent, and just make a better version of yourself, you're just going to be happier, in my opinion, because you're going to look back and say, wow, even if you just made a little bit of progress, you're going to look back and say, wow, I used to do that stuff. And then I heard that podcast, or I listened to this, or I did that. And now I thought about it. And now I'm doing things differently. Like I know I'm better off than I was then.
Yeah.
I know I am. That's the better version of you that you're looking for.
I just like that we're trying to be useful,
Like we're a tool.
Yeah.
I'm a tool.
You're a tool.
Sure are.
I'm a Leatherman. I'm a multi-purpose tool.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm fine with being called a tool if it's in a good purpose like that. Hey, you're a tool that I use to help me be a better version of myself. I take it in stride. Maybe I'll even get a little teary. That's how I feel.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right.
This is a good one.
Anybody else? You guys got anything else to add to this?
No. I learned a lot, and now I don't know if I'm more free will or determinism.
I'm going to be thinking about this for like the next month.
I still think I'm
going to be thinking about this.
People have been thinking about it for 2,000 freaking years. We're going to be thinking about it until we die.
I do like the free will of choice, though. That makes most sense.
Yeah, right?
I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it. That definitely sounds better.
Yeah, because you don't. Yeah, you have a free will of choice. Make this that.
Yeah. But and then some choices you're not able to have depending on how you were raised or where you were born and stuff like that. So that's determinism, but it's still free will of choice within that determinism.
All right. Thanks, guys. Join us next time.
See ya.